to the agenda this evening? Seeing none, the recommendation is that the agenda be approved as presented. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Deputy Mayor Pringle. Any discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest this evening? Councillor Day.
I have a disqualifying interest for item 12.2.7, bylaw 2025-008, the revised drainage superintendent appointment bylaw. I have a long-standing personal relationship with persons who are employed by and in management of GEI.
Thank you. Minutes of previous meetings. From Council, December 11th, 2024. The recommendation is that the minutes of the council meeting held on December 11th, 2024 be adopted. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Day. Deputy Mayor Pringle. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Announcements. Does any member wish to make an announcement? Councillor Scholdes?
Oh, hi. Can you guys hear me okay? I'm coming in from my iPhone tonight.
Yep, we can hear you.
Great. So through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, everyone. Good evening, and apologies for not being present tonight in council. I'm currently working in Wyerton Emerge tonight, and I couldn't get anyone to cover my shift, so I'm here, but I figured I'd pop on for a couple minutes during announcement period to give some good news. So I'm excited to announce that through the Physician Recruitment Committee, which I have the honor of sitting on, has successfully welcomed 2 new physicians to our community. And I wanted to announce that tonight. It's Dr. Farhood and Dr. Milvaganam. Dr. Farhood will be joining the Wyerton Family Health Team and Wyerton Emerge. And while Dr. Milvaganam joins the Sauble Family Health Team. Both they're great doctors. They're awesome to work with. And today, actually, on this note, I'm working with Amir, Dr. Farhood in Emerge today, and he's doing a really good job. So that's something to bring to light. They're both actively taking on new patients to their rosters. So if you're watching this live stream tonight, or if you're in the audience, in council chambers and you don't have a family doctor, please consider calling either the Sauble or Wyerton Family Health Teams, even if you're a resident of Georgian Bluffs, and consider getting on both of their rosters. They're both great doctors to work with, and I enjoy being alongside both of them. This is a significant step in addressing our healthcare needs locally, and I'm extremely proud to have been part of this effort and part of the Physician Recruitment Committee. They're doing a great job. So I just wanted to shed some light onto them and say kudos to these guys for doing an awesome job.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councillor Scholdes. Does anyone else have announcements? I just have one, and it has to do with the Bruce Ski Club and free skating there on the first Sunday of each month for residents of Georgian Bluffs. So if anyone is skiing or snowshoeing, please go ahead and take advantage of that for February and March now. Seeing no other announcements. Public hearings. There are no scheduled public hearings this evening. We do have delegations. For delegations on the agenda items, any person who wishes to appear before council regarding an item on the agenda must register with the clerk's office. To register, you can complete the online delegation form at www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations. Call the clerk's office at 519-376-2729, extension 603. Or register in council chambers with the clerk prior to the meeting start of 5 p.m. On tonight's agenda in relation to items 11.3.1 and 12.2.3, our 2025 budget, we have Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library with their 2025 budget. So welcome, Mr. Nichols Harrison, and we'll have you proceed with your presentation, and welcome Richard Thomas as well. Thanks for being here, Tim.
Thank you. Next slide. They'll go up somewhere. And do I just say next slide?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Your Worship, Council, staff, and members of the public, we're pleased to be able to come here before you as part of the 2025 budget process. I'm here with Richard Thomas, our board chair. There are so many costs and services that you must weigh as part of the budget process, especially in these challenging economic times. The library is a vital part of our community, and we appreciate the long history of care and support the council has shown the library. In each of the CEO Chief Librarian reports that I prepare for library board meetings, a quote about libraries is shared. Today, I'd like to offer some wisdom from Andrew Carnegie. His benevolence and support of libraries established the foundation that provided the original funding for the building of our library in 1914, with the proviso that there would be ongoing costs for maintenance, staffing, and resources. Andrew Carnegie says, "A library outranks any other one thing in a community that a community can do to benefit its people. It is a never-failing spring in the desert." How do we assess this benefit? Libraries across Ontario have been undertaking an analysis called VOLT, Valuing Ontario's Library Toolkit. The data demonstrates that municipalities across Ontario are receiving outstanding returns on investment in their funding of libraries. For example, Stratford, which is a comparator library to us, when Stratford reported on their VOLT analysis, they found that for every dollar that Stratford Council spent on the Stratford Public Library, the social return on investment came back at $6.48 per person for Stratford's entire population. SROI calculations take something that's offered at no charge, library services, events, classes, and applies a dollar value to them. With the VOLT, it assesses a dollar value of the library in 7 different domains: education, culture, inclusion and well-being, entertainment and leisure, economic development, civic engagement, and space. We look forward to bringing related information to Council in 2025 as we go through the VOLT process. The first slide that I'm showing are some of the ways that we collect and share data about the Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library. I've shared with you the 2023 annual report and our October Library Service Index. Actually, I've shared the November one, our November Library Service Index, which includes the cumulative totals for the first 11 months of 2024. The LSI is our monthly performance report and provides a good summary of the effectiveness and breadth of the services and resources provided to local citizens. We also share that data monthly in an infographic, The Library, a Month at a Glance. Sharing a few highlights from that report, you can see that the economic value was $419,551. And we know that for the year that approximated $5 million. Library memberships have increased to 11,600. Library memberships have increased. It's approximately 9% more than the same time last year. Based upon the pace, we realized that it's a bit different doing it in January instead of December. We know that our 2024 was our best year in the past decade. We're very busy. It's challenging to provide the level and quality of services and resources that a modern library is expected to provide. I'm extremely proud of the quality of service that our staff delivers to the public, and this has been achieved with about the same number of staff as 50 years ago. Next slide, please. This is our good news, bad news story. We've been working very hard to have the kiosk be functional at Shell Lake, and we've had ongoing problems with the machine functioning. We are working again with the providers that we in the States, and we'll be going back out and trying one last time to get it working. If we're unable to, then unfortunately the machine just wasn't able to give us what we wanted to. We had gotten it from another library system, so the sad part is the other machine that's working great at Katy Community Center, we just haven't had the good fortune to have the same response from this machine. So we're working one more time to try to solve the problems with it, and hope that that'll be solved in the next couple of weeks. If not, then we'll be working with you to remove the machine and look at other possibilities. It just is a circumstance that we had not anticipated at this time. Part of that discussion has also made us look at other things that we can be doing in Shell Lake and possibly in other places in Georgian Bluffs, and we will be working with you more on that during this year around opportunities for programming. And if this doesn't go ahead, looking at a system where people can at least order materials and we'll deliver them to that sort of site and have them stored in lockers, and so community members will be able to pick it up, and being able to continue with the book drop so that people can drop their resources off there as another site beyond the library. So we are continuing to work on that at this time. That is the branding that we have for it. We haven't installed it because, again, we're waiting to try and ensure that the machine works. It doesn't make sense to put them on if it doesn't work. And again, we had been trying to manage this situation and have both of them working. The challenges with this specific machine has made that more than what we had anticipated. And I sincerely apologize for that. Next slide, please. Each year, libraries across Ontario are required to provide a considerable amount of statistics to the province. The data is available online. We are compared to other libraries serving a population between 30,000 and 50,000 people. So sometimes people compare us to other libraries and think it's the Owen Sound Library, and we should be compared to places like Cobourg. But we're not. Owen Sound has a population of under 30,000. If we were an Owen Sound library, we would be in the library group of 0 to 30,000 people. We are not. We are in essence a mini county library. We're a union library because 3 municipalities, yours, Chatsworth and Owen Sound, work together. Our population is 30 to 50,000. That's a similar population, as I said, to Stratford and the communities there. So those are our comparators for when we're looking at the services that we provide compared to other libraries our size in Ontario. Looking at the data, the population we serve, Owen Sound, Chatsworth, and Georgian Bluffs, is almost 40,000. Yet statistically, we are hitting well above our weight in many of the areas of service delivery, including visits and circulation. So of the 19, we're number of library visits 6th out of all of those 19 libraries for the number of visits to our library. In our circulation of our materials that people access online, we're 4th in Ontario for libraries our size. The most significant challenge for us is that when comparing the 19 libraries, we receive the least amount of municipal funding. Indeed, we're receiving at least $750,000 each year, less than the average municipal funding provided by the other libraries. Next slide, please. We're fortunate to have the Union Library Agreement between Georgian Bluffs, Chatsworth, and Owen Sound. It provides stability and ensures that costs are distributed in a fair manner for all ratepayers. The agreement limits increases to 4% per year, historically 3% unless the majority of councils agree to an increase. For the 2025 library budget, the board recognizes the significant financial challenges that councils are facing, and the budget proposes a 3.94% increase to municipal costs. When we started doing the work, we were above 13%. The budget allows us to continue providing services with our current hours of operation, already the lowest of the 19 comparator libraries. We hope that our ongoing needs might be championed in the coming years, And we thank you for this opportunity to share the proposed 2025 Owen Sound and North Grey Union Public Library budget.
Thank you. I will turn to council to see if anyone has any questions or comments. Seeing none, thank you very much for being here and for presenting. Next on our agenda is Mr. Bob Hope with Green Burials. This was deferred from December 4th, and due to inclement weather that night, tonight's looking fractionally better. Welcome, Mr. Hope, and please
Thanks
proceed.
to Carrie for all her
Yes.
continued support on this whole thing.
Welcome, Mr. Hope. Please proceed with your presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm here to represent a group of people who are very interested in natural burial, specifically in the Mount Pleasant Cemetery. Maybe I'll just ask who here is for the natural burial presentation. Yeah, a lot of people. And we also know that you have kind of, through your 5-year plan, strategic plan, have agreed that natural burial is something that is of interest to you. And because of my long involvement with it, I thought it was worthwhile to maybe point out some areas where mistakes could be made, things you don't want to do, and just maybe get a feeling for the whole thing. So who am I? I've lived in the Grey County for 22 years. I was 10 years on the City Operations Committee in Owen Sound, 6 years Bruce Trail Land Steward Director, so I had to worry about all the properties in Georgian Bluffs that Bruce Trail owns and manages. 6 years on the Folk Society Board, and involved with natural burial for quite a few years, probably at least a dozen years. So the reason we're presenting is because it is a brand new thing to a group that's trying to do something like natural burial. And just as in the case that if you were going to build a baseball diamond, you would understand what that is. But in the case of natural burial, I think it's valuable that you understand what you're trying to do, what the objective is. Excuse me, I've got a presentation that I put together. I put it into a letter format only because I think it can be a useful document. Maybe Terry can pull it up there. Sure. Well, let me just talk about it in a general sense. Your area is magnificent. If you didn't know it, you live in a magnificent piece of land. And Mount Pleasant really reflects that in a lot of ways. It's sitting in a gorgeous location. You've got the trail running through the whole area. Main purpose of natural burial is to basically place a body such that it can be accessible by nature, by plants, and as quickly as possible have it integrate itself and be nurturing the plants around it. And the idea is you want those plants to be natural indigenous plants. You're not trying to create a garden. You're trying to reinforce the nature that's existing there right now. And so the first slide is talking about what is natural burial. And so there are really two important points. I don't think there isn't much controversy around how the body is treated, in the sense that you don't want to be embalmed, you don't want synthetic fabrics, you don't want things that aren't going to eventually incorporate itself into nature. If there is a box, you could use a box, could be a shroud, could be a wicker basket. There are a variety of ways, but the whole idea is that it decomposes quickly. So if it's a box, it's untreated wood, and maybe wood dolls. Just the whole idea, the whole thing just disappears is the objective. It's also buried only a meter down. I'm sorry, 3 feet down. Yeah, a meter down, as opposed to 6 feet down, 2 meters down. And the total amount of soil that you're removing is about half the amount because it's also a narrower, you're not putting in a concrete vault. It's a narrower type of situation. So part of the issue is, and I would say the preparation of the body is understood by local funeral homes. So how they handle that is Brian Woods, number of places can understand how to handle the body and being delivered here. It may require some different shoring because I don't know how the shoring when you're doing the hole, it may be shoring for a concrete vault may be too big, maybe require smaller shoring. But in any event, the second aspect is where it is located. And that's really what we're here to talk about, if we can. So maybe flip to the next page. This is a list of who wants natural burial. And I think the one point is that in Southwest Ontario, based on an Angus Reid survey, 70% of people would consider natural burial. So it's a pretty high number. And they go around political bent, age bent, male, female. It's pretty high really across the board. You can't really see anything too much different. On the list of people who would like it, why they say they would like natural burial, there's a list there. Maybe pull that up a little farther. Giving back to nature, consistent with faith and tradition, final resting place, leaving a legacy, natural and simple, nice place to visit, connection with the land, eco-friendly, and in the case of Mount Pleasant, it's close to Legacy Ridge Golf Course, which has been brought up to me. Just so you know. It is. So the next page, I picked Royal Oak Burial Park, and you can see in the top left where they have the location. I think there are about 200, I think they say there's 255 graves in that location. They buried along a forest edge, bodies along a forest edge, and they have a gravel path that just enters into the area and out. In that cemetery, and what I would recommend would be the same, there's no infilling. You don't buy a specific plot. There's a natural burial area, and when someone dies, they're placed into a position logistically where you're slowly filling in the area. You're not getting an individual plot. You could choose to do that, but it's not part of the desire of keeping it a natural type of environment in total. No individual stones. They recommend no planting be done, artificial planting or anything like that. Irreversible, only by a court order can you go in and dig it up, because we're trying to keep the plant structure, the roots and everything in place. So high need to not mess with, can't move it without a court order. The next page I have shows that cemetery. So you can see on the top left, that is the tombstone, the only one that's in that cemetery. You can see that it's chronological because your name doesn't go on until you're in it. Which makes sense. On the other side, you can see where plots are located. You can see what it looks like. You can see how they're placing it really right along the edge of a forest. And then I just point out on the bottom right is that's a geographic marker stone. So every plot is understood where it is. Everyone knows exactly where each plot is. It's not like you're burying somebody and you can't figure out where they are, right? You can do that. So on the next page, I'm showing Mount Pleasant Cemetery, your cemetery, and I'm looking at the West End Drive-In, and on the section between where the current stones are and the golf course line, there's the forest edge with a little dip in there. And that's where, I mean, if it were possible to do it, the field there is incredibly natural. I don't know when the last time anybody messed with that field, but it's just in gorgeous shape. All sorts of ferns and beautiful plants in it. And the bottom left-hand side is the photo of standing in that area. So you're really tucked away from the rest of the cemetery in a lot of ways. So if it becomes, you know, what Owen Sound did was they placed it right in the middle of tombstones on both sides. It's a long strip, tombstones on both sides. And because it's just like when you, if you want to have a natural lawn and you're in the middle of the suburbs, your neighbors are going to complain. So to prevent complaints from these areas with the tombstones, they want to put big hedges down both sides. And as a result, it's just this long tunnel of, and then they're preventing any natural seed from blowing in, any natural plants from blowing in. You don't even have to plant anything in this one if it could be located there. They have to turn it into a garden. And they have to maintain this garden. And they don't even know how they're going to do it. I don't know if Thomas Steen, did Thomas Steen make it? Didn't make it. Thomas Steen designed it. Can't blame him for the design because it was a location. So location is really important if you're going to do this such that you have the community behind you in terms of the effort that you're trying to actually do. So we walked in that area. The picture on the right is a lot of faces that are here now. After we did a tour of the area, we had a guy with a drone do a photo section to just show the beauty of the area and the beauty of the entire area with the bay just right off the edge of it. It's gorgeous. And then the next page is next possible action. You know, you may consider a landscape architect, but really what you're going to end up with is hopefully wherever it is, it's going to be a crushed stone path, walking path. You don't need big machines because you're not hauling concrete vaults. There's no big concrete vaults. It's going to be the body and the box is the heaviest thing you're going to be taking into it. And maybe a backhoe to dig the hole, which isn't that big. So a gravel path, and then for the most part, it's leave it alone. Just that, leave it alone. We like the way it looks now. I don't know when the last time that area was ever maintained, but I would probably say a long time ago, which is perfect for natural burial. You don't want to mess up that aspect of it. So I'm suggesting that you stay in connection with this group. I actually made sure that everyone agreed that they were a member of this group. They didn't just say, add me to your list. They actually said, I am a member of this group. So we do have representation of the group itself. And I'm pleased to even give you the list of who are in this group. I have no problem doing that at all. We're a pretty open group. But maybe recommendation is keep in contact as you think about how you're going to develop it. And if you can develop it in that site, in that general location, would absolutely be ideal for the people who have seen your cemetery from the eyes of people who want natural burial. That's how they've looked at it. And that's how they understand the area that they've talked about. I'm connected with the Natural Burial Association which is a Canadian nonprofit in Toronto. Sue Greer, Executive Director, reviewed this presentation. She agrees with it. I've got her contact information here. The fellow who designed the cemetery in Victoria is, he's now, he was a junior at the time when it was designed, which was about 10 or 11 years ago, and he's now the head of the cemetery system. It ended up being so successful, they had to add a whole new section to it now because they sold out the section that they had. And I think he would be accommodable to any thoughts about, did you have to change your rules? The rules I gave there were the rules he originally started with, the list of rules that he started with. Did he discover that some of these he had to do away with, or what were the logistic problems with it? But I trust that whatever he did was quite successful, and I think it can be reflected in your gorgeous piece of land that you have. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Hope. I will turn to council and see if anyone has any questions from here. Sure. Councillor Coburn, then Deputy Mayor Pringle.
Thank you for your presentation, and thanks for all the supporters for being here. Definitely in support of this, and I don't want us to lose momentum. So we often have presentations and delegations, and we thank the speaker very much, and off they go.
Right.
And 3 months down the road, we've forgotten. So I'm happy to make a motion tonight, if council is so willing, to direct staff to work with Mr. Hope in this group and bring us back a report and some recommendations.
You want a seconder for that motion to start? Councillor Day, you're seconding that? Okay, so we're open for discussion. I'll go to Deputy Mayor Pringle.
Good, thank you. Thanks, Mayor Carlton. Yeah, great presentation. I didn't know a whole lot about it until I read this presentation, and appreciate everybody here in the chambers tonight. On that piece of property that you're looking at there right now, how many sites would you, like, I'm trying to think of the overall aspect of how many sites do you think you could get in that particular piece of property right now?
I'd rather have, I was surprised at how many they got into the one that they show on the map there. They show on the map there, which is not a very big area, like 200 some odd plots, 255 graves in a 0.4 acre area.
Yeah, and I think that's great, because I didn't want us to have to be looking in a couple of years from now to where we're going to move to the next piece. So there's a lot of room for that to happen, and I think it's a great objective, and more than happy to support it too. So I'm just curious what the objective was right now with how many plots were there. So 200 plus is good news.
Any other comments? Councillor Day.
I'll just echo the thanks for coming in. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate bringing forward a topic which is not always easy to talk about. We don't, in North American culture, talk about death all that often. And also bringing a climate lens to something that we need to do in the municipality. I would have put forth a motion myself, so I'm glad Councillor Coburn brought one forward.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And again, it was a great presentation. Thank you for coming. The only thing I noticed, and I don't hate to say it out loud, but it's actually the east end of the.
It's what?
It's the east end of that cemetery you're looking at. The west end is Range Road.
Yeah, the west side. Yeah, the east side is pretty well full up.
We're up against the tree line though, right?
Yeah, against the tree line, about halfway.
West side of the tree
And
line.
I was told where the area we like, you can't shank an 8-iron from there.
Great presentation.
So
Thank you.
that's an additional piece of information.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Hope. And if there's no other comments from council, I will call the vote then. All in favor? That is carried. So, direction to staff. Does staff have any questions for us on that, or we'll bring that back?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. It would have been my recommendation that council direct staff to bring back a report just to look at the feasibility of offering green burial services. I do agree with the proposed location. The other two cemeteries that are active are at capacity. The section we're looking at Mount Pleasant is already in an approved plan. It is currently reserved for full adult burial plots. So we would be looking at reaching out to the Bereavement Authority of Ontario and getting a revised site. In addition to that, I think it's important for us to have a full picture of the financial implications as well as whether our current model of cemetery operation would be consistent with offering this service. Currently, we have one staff member who does cemeteries, and you're looking at her and me as well. So in terms of long-term planning for the cemetery, this is a really good exercise. We need to be looking at how to expand the options in the cemetery. And just, yeah, I look forward to investigating it a little bit further and working with Bob and the group. And I just want to extend my thanks to the community and all the support we received. There's lots of letters of support rolling in over the last little while. So just to say thanks for taking the time, and staff are more than happy to investigate.
Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone.
We may head out now.
Just wait a minute to let everyone get out.
Yes. Yeah, no.
I also wasn't.
Two or three up.
The other thing is getting true.
Outside of,
Yeah,
That's so big.
it's a beautiful spot.
yeah, I know, it's
Right over.
ideal spot for it.
That was me, everyone, thinking everyone might be here for budget.
Yeah, so those people may be listening online, so
This is true.
we will respect that and get things moving again. So consent agenda, are there any items that anyone wants to pull off that consent agenda this evening? Seeing none, the recommendation then is that Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs adopt the consent agenda for information as circulated, and that all actions contained therein are hereby approved. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Deputy Mayor Pringle, is there any discussion? Yes, otherwise you had to pull it. All in favor? That is carried. On to reports. There are no committee reports, information reports. The recommendation is that the information reports contained herein be received for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Winters. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. Whoops, sorry, Councillor Coburn.
Sorry, the information report being just 11.2.1. Is that the only one you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, sorry, yeah, we're good then? All in favor then? Opposed? Oh, sorry, I just. Good, right. That is carried then. So the next item is the recommendation reports. The first one being 2025 budget update. The recommendation that council receive report COR 2025-02 for information, and that council approve bylaw 2025-004, sums required bylaw to adopt the 2025 operating and capital budget for the township of Georgian Bluffs. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn and Deputy Mayor Pringle. And I will turn to Samantha for an update. Kate.
Thank you, and through you, I'm happy to present this update report in relation to your 2025 budget cycle. We left our last meeting on November 12th, where some direction was given to staff. Following the November 12th meeting, we also did hold a public open house. The open house had 3 attendees. 2 were expressing support related to the budget request around the playground at Kemble. 1 was expressing comments around a pathway at Kemble Sarawak School. No adjustments have been made to your budget to reflect either of those. We did also receive comments from 1 individual who was unable to attend the open house related to transit in Georgian Bluffs. Again, no changes have been made to your budget around that. Looking at the direction that was provided on November 12th, staff have amended the budget to include the Grey Sauble Conservation Authority Administrative Building. When we are looking at preparing the RFT around the hardtop surface preservation, we will be ensuring that it is issued to only be surface treatment roads and to accomplish as many roads as possible within the budgeted amount. We are still continuing to monitor the options around a water tank insert system, including the option to rental. Right now, your budget does include it as a capital purchase. Further information will come from staff where we may look to realign those funds. That would be a council decision at that time. We did submit for the CSRIF grant. We are still waiting on a response around that. They have not released any timelines around when we can expect an answer, if we are successful or not. There were multiple projects that we had applied to that fund for, one of them being that Kemble Playground. At the time of writing this report, we had submitted a request for delegation at Roma. I do not have any information as an update if that was successful or not. We have received further information about our Ontario Provincial Police. So on November 29th, the province had issued that they were granting municipalities upwards of 77 million as a pot. We have heard what our portion of that is going to be for Georgian Bluffs. So we will be seeing a reduction in our OPP costing of $290,047. Staff have made that amendment within your budget. So $192,695 related to 2025 billings. So that was the equivalent of what your tax impact is. The remaining 97,352 being related to the reconciliation of 2023 OPP costing. Our methodology for our 2025 budget was to have 2025 costs funded from tax, the reconciliation portion funded from the reserves. So the reserve withdrawal would be decreased by the 97,352. So the amendments that have been made since November 12th are just the inclusion of the administrative center and the OPP reduction. So that would leave a final taxes to be levied of $13,709,740. This is a levy increase of 6.11% over your 2024 tax levy. Assuming there are no changes to the county tax ratios, this would equate to a municipal tax rate increase of 4.11%, which would have an approximate increase of $83.78 each year on our average single-family dwelling assessment of $300,000. County at their last meeting did pass their budget, which included a approximate 3.33% estimated county tax rate increase. There is no proposed changes to the education rates at this time. So we are anticipating a blended tax rate increase for our residents of 3.35% if this budget is approved. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions from anyone? Councillor Cope.
Yes, so my question around the OPP funding was answered, and I appreciate that. What about biodigester work that we're going to be looking at in 2025? Has that been included in the
So that there has been no allowances. The only thing included in our budget is the 98,350 that we contribute, as those discussions are still to be determined by the joint councils. We have not made any allowances speaking on behalf of the biodiversity, they do have some funds in their reserve that could be used. There may be future implications around our reserves, but no tax impact has been proposed for any of those activities.
I just wonder if maybe we should have budgeted for that. I know we don't have necessarily definitive answers, but it sort of sounds as though we're heading that direction. How much do we know offhand how much is in the reserve for the biodigester?
The biodigester does have a reserve of approximately $477,000.
Good. I have other questions, but I'll let others have a crack at it.
Anyone else?
No, good.
For Dave?
I am looking at the Keppel-Sarawak pathway and noting that it's something that we've heard requests for previously, and it's not part of 2025. I don't think we should add it to 2025 at this point in time, but there is the possibility to bring back a request through the 2026 budget and if we direct to do so, and I do have, I don't believe that would mean we guarantee that would happen because we don't have all the 2026 numbers yet, but it would be nice to see that on the list for 2026 as a possibility to improve our school communities. So I guess I could formally make a motion to request 2026 budget request for the Keppel-Sarawak school pathway.
I'll just turn to staff. Is a motion needed for that or just a direction at this point to have that included when we look at 2026 budget? We'll wait for the clerk to be able to speak to us.
Okay. Apologies, I swallowed my water the wrong way. I would suggest that we deal with the existing recommendation, and then perhaps this is a direction that comes separate and apart from this motion.
Okay. So we can come back around to that, okay? Anyone else, or Councillor Coburn, you said you had more questions?
Actually, thank you. I think it was already answered earlier. Just checking back at my notes. I think I'm good.
Okay. Seeing no other questions or comments, I will call the vote then. All in favor? That is carried. Excellent. Thank you. And the next item is Fire Service Master Plan, the recommendation. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would like to
Short memory.
motion again.
Go ahead, make your motion.
Request through the 2026 budget, an item for the Keppel-Sarawak school pathway.
So you're making that motion?
Better wording.
Could we have a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle? Any further discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Yes, go ahead.
If I may, through you, Mayor Carlton, to the rest of council and staff, I did speak with our CAO about the process of the budgeting for next year, and I will reiterate that I think it was better this year than I recall it being. So I thank staff for that. I do wonder if we need to have sort of a mini strategic planning meeting first before we see a draft budget. I felt like this year we have our big strat plan or a draft thereof. And then all of a sudden we saw a draft budget without us getting together and saying what are our strategic priorities going to be in 2025. And that should be, in my opinion, the first step in that process. I think, I don't want to speak for you, CAO Lobley, but I think when we had that discussion, you seemed to think that was not a bad idea. So I would just recommend that we look at that process for the next budget cycle.
Go ahead.
So through you, Mayor Carlton, we constantly innovate and seek to open the budget process up. We haven't started putting together the pieces for next year's budget process, but take any comments and feedback that there has been, and we will lay out a timetable and have a conversation, make sure that we're providing lots of space for community and council input into the budget process. So I started those conversations and they will come in due course.
Any other comments? I haven't missed anything else. The next recommendation is that staff be directed to enter into an agreement with the Lumex Group to update the township's community risk assessment and develop a fire services master plan for the township of Georgian Bluffs in the amount of $72,366.55, inclusive of HST and a contingency of 15% that amounts to $9,439.11. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Winters, any discussion or question? Go ahead,
I
Councillor.
would just ask a standard question. I mean, have we seen reports that the Lumex Group has done? I mean, they went through a process, I assume you have, and you've looked at the detail, and we're going to get what we think we're going to get. There was an alarming statement made in a previous meeting that, hey, we went out through this process and we didn't get the information we wanted. I just want to do this once. And I don't know the Lumex Group. I don't know anything about them. That's why I asked.
So through you, Mayor Carlton, to Councillor Winters, yes, part of the process included providing evidence of having performed similar plans in similar places. And coincidentally, one of the plans they shared was the process I've just gone through in South Bruce. So they're actually just tying up the South Bruce plan, chatted to the CAO, part of the reference checking that we do through the process, and the CAO over there is very happy with the work that was done, and in fact commended the efforts made by Lumex Group to reach out to the volunteer firefighters that are participating in. And I understand that the same project lead that they've had in South Bruce will be the project lead in this area. So yes, they have done work in this area and worked for similar sized municipalities across Canada.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I will call the vote then. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is our strategic plan. Recommendation is that council approve View from the Top as Georgian Bluffs 2025 to 2030 strategic plan and vision, and that staff be directed to implement View from the Top through subsequent budget approval processes, and that staff be directed to implement reporting tools to advise council and community of progress against the objectives of View from the Top. That council approve bylaw 2025-002, being a bylaw to adopt the 2025 to 2030 strategic plan and visions for the township of Georgian Bluffs. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Day. Is there any discussion?
Not discussion, but just more of a question. In reading the report, it looks like there were only really 2 comments that received in that public. Is that true?
Through you, Mayor Carlton, yes. Very few comments were received during the final stage of review. We put it out through our engagement platform, did some media releases, a bit of social media gathering, had a prominent position on the homepage of the website, and drew very little in the way of comments. Traditionally speaking, if we had got it very wrong, we would have heard a lot, and so I think the approach we're taking at this point is I'm hoping that we hit the nail on the head. We certainly did hear from a sizable number of feedback as we were developing the plan, and so my hope is that we got it right. That's why we didn't hear anything.
Thank you. And I happen to think that new plan is very good. I'm quite pleased with everything that's included in there and all the work that it took to get it to this point. So I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Bylaws. There are no zoning bylaws. Other bylaws. Adopt a strategic plan and vision. So the recommendation that bylaw 2025-002, being a bylaw to adopt the 2025 to 2030 strategic plan and vision for the township of Georgian Bluffs, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Day, Councillor Coburn, any discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item being a bylaw to provide for interim tax levies for the year 2025. The recommendation is that bylaw 2025-003, being a bylaw to provide for interim tax levies for the year 2025 for the Township of Georgian Bluffs be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Deputy Mayor Pringle. Any discussion? I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is 2025 operating and capital budget. The recommendation is that bylaw 2025-004, being a bylaw to adopt the 2025 operating and capital budgets for the Township of Georgian Bluffs, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Coburn, Deputy Mayor Pringle. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is our annual borrowing bylaw. The recommendation is that bylaw 2025-005, being a bylaw to authorize the borrowing of money to meet current expenditures of the corporation of the Township of Georgian Bluffs, be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Day and Councillor Winters, any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is a bylaw to adopt a communications policy. Recommendation that bylaw, sorry, I'm reading 2024 here. Is that a typo when I should be 2025? It was from 2024, wasn't it?
Through you, Mayor Carlton, it should say 2025-006.
Okay.
The policy number was 2024 47, I believe, because it was drafted in 2024. I believe
Okay,
that's
so
just-
when I read this as that bylaw, it should be 2025-006. Okay, perfect, thank you. So the recommendation that bylaw 2025-006, being a bylaw to adopt a communications policy for the Township of Georgian Bluffs, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Day, any discussion? Councillor Coburn.
Thank you. I see on page 4 that we have added C under council members' role with communications. I got the right page there, page 407. And I appreciate you adding C in red, so that's new. I do wonder though if we are contradicting A when we say that council members may speak with regards to decisions made by council, but in A, we say council members shall, that means shall means must, defer to the mayor any requests from the media for comment on the official position of council. So I just wonder if you can, to me, there is a little bit of contradiction there. I wonder if you can explain to me if I'm misinterpreting or maybe just give us a little more context.
Sure, through the mayor. So the official position of council may be separate from an individual council member speaking on an issue that's before council. So the mayor is the default for the official position of council. A member of council may be quoted in the media from a council discussion where you had a different opinion from the decision that council went with. And the media may report on that. They might want to speak with an individual council member on that and follow up on that. So you can still speak to things that happen around the council table. You're expected to do that in a way that is respectful and that is respectful of the decision-making body that council represents. But the official position of the township, if we're looking for example, a statement on behalf of the Township of Georgian Bluffs for some purpose, that will come through the mayor for those official speaking purposes, if that makes sense.
It does, and I think that's typically what happens if they want, if the meeting wants clarification on council's position, they do. In my opinion anyway, I've never been asked to speak on behalf of council for any decisions. So I think I'm okay with that. I think C covers it. So thank you for adding that.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Any other questions on that one? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is the social media use policy, and the recommendation is that bylaw 2025-007, being a bylaw to adopt social media use policy for the Township of Georgian Bluffs, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Councillor Winters, Councillor Day. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is the revised drainage superintendent appointment bylaw. And the recommendation is that bylaw 2025-008, being a bylaw to appoint a drainage superintendent, and repeal bylaw 2023-047, be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Winters, and we'll note that Councillor Day has stepped out of the circle for this vote. I will call the vote if there's no further discussion. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. There is no unfinished business. There is no new business. Does any member wish to provide a notice of motion or a notice of discussion for inclusion on the next council agenda? Councillor Colbert.
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, and I have 3. And these are all notice of discussion, I think. The first one is around housing affordability. I have noted that there's lots of work being done at the county, as well as another group, and I just wonder if we could hear back from our county representatives on the housing affordability topic and what the county is doing. It would be nice just to see a report on that. But I'd also like to request, if I may, a presentation from the Institute of South Georgian Bay, in particular their housing group. I do know that they have been presenting to other municipalities. I believe Meaford is one of them, and they are actually able to use the data and the toolkit to tailor their presentations to the specific township or municipality, which is, so we can get the county perspective, but hopefully we can get a little bit more of a local perspective from a report from them. So I'm not sure, maybe I could get some guidance on how to go about doing that, if it needs to be an official motion come forward, or I'm open to feedback.
So you said you have 3. Is the third one something totally different and these first 2 are kind of combined?
Well, that was just number 1.
Oh, that was number 1. Okay.
The next 2 are kind of related and I combine them.
Okay.
So through you, Mayor Carlton, I think this can easily be dealt with. I'll lean on the clerk for advice on how best to move this forward, but we can certainly get an update from the county on the Housing Affordability Task Force and the work that they're doing, and from the South Georgian Bay Institute, as Councillor Hogan says, they have got information that they can tailor specific to the municipality and have been doing so to others. So it's a good opportunity for an update, and I'm happy to arrange that. Do we need a formal direction for that one, or a motion?
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, through you. I think it would be best just to, if there's direction to bring back a report. I did hear the word report. I don't know if you meant in written format, but in written format, I think a direction to staff to compile an information report would be sufficient. In addition to that, direction to staff to reach out to the Institute of West Georgian Bay to arrange that delegation request.
So can I just, at this point, our part in the agenda is notice of motion or notice of discussion. I don't disagree. I think this would be a great thing to come back, but that's all we're doing is giving notice. We're not actually giving direction at this point. So if we proceed to what you're saying, we're actually giving direction in this point. Is that?
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, through you. I would agree if it was a notice rather than a request. But it sounds a little bit more like a request than formally putting it on an agenda for discussion only.
Okay, so we don't need to go through that step of bringing it back and then giving the direction. Okay, I just wanted to be clear we were on the right track.
And sorry if I used the word report and shouldn't have. I was more looking for presentation. So if there's someone from the county who can present, someone from the institute who can present, then I don't want staff to be encumbered with more work than is necessary for me.
I appreciate the clarification.
Okay, so that is that. Next item.
So, as my fellow council members know, some of us have been fielding several calls and emails from concerned ratepayers around issues related to the Shore Road allowance and use of the Shore Road allowance, as well as a related topic, which is the short-term accommodation issues, which are compounding the Shore Road allowance, what our residents see as disturbances. So we've seen a lot of those emails. If you're like me, you've fielded a few phone calls. I just wonder if it's appropriate to bring that back to open session so that we can have maybe a more fulsome discussion. And I just wondered if we could get a progress update on the Shore Road allowance study. People are still asking me what is the study, what is the purpose of it, when is it coming back? And I think it would be helpful if we had some kind of progress report on that. Along with that, there's a request for signage at the south of Old Beach Road and north of Cottage Lane, indicating that that Shore Road allowance is not a walking trail, in the hopes that it will help with the issues of trespassing, invasion of privacy, safety, and security that people are reporting. I don't know if that's doable or advisable, but I am just bringing that forward as a request from several ratepayers. So the third one that's related to this, Mayor Carlton and members of council, is a progress report on the implementation of our STA licensing program. So folks are feeling like they're waiting and waiting and waiting, and I know that we've all been busy. We've had a long break over Christmas holidays, and I think people are looking to see what are the next steps. When is it that that's going to begin to be implemented for real? Not like in a hard way, not a soft launch anymore. And will that be solidly in place before the shoreline properties really start to experience difficulties over the spring and summer months? Thank you.
We have everything we need there then to bring those forward?
Thank you, Mayor Carlton, for you. I just wanted to clarify the two pieces about the presentations. Under notice of discussion, the procedure bylaw does say it will be the next council meeting. I'm just maybe looking for direction so I have some flexibility to arrange those presentations. So just because the procedure bylaw states that once the notice is given, it's for the next agenda. But if I'm reaching out and trying to schedule, they may be unavailable for the next meeting. Okay.
Can't see the, you're talking about the housing authority. Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll need to, if we're getting a report from the county, we're going to have to coordinate county and South Georgian Bay Housing, so.
Just thank you. I just wanted to clarify that it may not be on the next council agenda.
Anything else? Anyone else has anything to add there? Seeing none. Next item is closed session. So the recommendation is that the Council of the Township of Georgian Bluffs hereby moves into closed session at 6:11 p.m. in the council chambers with the CAO, Deputy CAO, Director of Corporate Services, and Manager of Legislative Services / clerk remaining in the room to discuss 16.1, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, open meeting exemption F of Section 239, subsection 2 of the Municipal Act 2001, contracted services. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please?
Mayor Carlton, if I may, very briefly, would it be possible to include the manager of operations, waste, fleet, and facilities in that conversation as well?
Yes, so we will add the manager of,
Operation.
okay. And I need a mover and seconder it. Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Day. Any discussion? Call the vote, all in favor? That is carried. We are now in closed session. Are we staying?
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly. And a lot of the locals come here every single day and they think of it as their therapy.
We're the Farouk family. We started farm on the lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today. And now that we have this set up, this whole operation is well received by the community. People drive down from far, far away to do camping, glamping with us.
A lot of people come from far away to see the goats, and they're really amazed. Sometimes we feed the babies in front of them.
When we think about Georgian Bluffs, it's really the Reiki forest bathing that comes to my mind. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we were looking to bring our people for a retreat, and this property just popped up, and we realized that behind it's a beautiful forest. Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water, if you're into water sports or sailing. And of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
The trails and so many great things to do, and lots of business opportunity here, and tourism as well to support our business.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Another thing too that I noticed from living through here is all the small communities throughout Georgian Bluffs. They're very unique, and they might be very small, but we're very big with heart. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
The township of Georgian Bluffs as a municipality is proud to serve its residents, whether it be looking after infrastructure, looking after our roads, grading our gravel roads, looking after our parks, our trails, our community centres, our ice arena, or providing the services that residents rely on every single day when they come to our township offices. I'm proud to lead a team which is here serving the residents of Georgian Bluffs every single day.
What we'd like to see Georgian Bluffs going forward is really, more people come in to experience this beautiful energy, this relaxed energy, because over here in Georgian Bluffs, I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazingly relaxing.
Welcoming more people, yet with the same foundation and principles of community, of respect, and of morals.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
I hope to see more local businesses, more sustainable living, and more families just moving up here and living and prospering off their land and their property.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street and say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
The Welcome Package is a tool that was developed by GB LIP's subcommittee community. It was a tool that was supposed to be used for municipalities to share information with new residents, specifically immigrants coming to their communities, in a consistent way across Grey and Bruce counties. And what's great about it is the package was actually translated into multiple different languages.
As my own personal lived experience as an immigrant, not everything was accessible to me with the click of my hand. But the Welcoming Package, if you look up the municipality website, all the information that you need about the schools, about the local hospitals, about the local grocery stores, about the settlement service provider in your area. So I think it is a one-stop shop for all your settlement needs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly.
We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today.
Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing. I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazing, really relaxing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water. If you're into water sports or sailing, of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street, say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly. And a lot of the locals come here every single day and they think of it as their therapy.
We're the Farouk family. We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today. And now that we have this set up, this whole operation is well received by the community. People drive down from far, far away to do camping, glamping with us.
A lot of people come from far away to see the goats, and they're really amazed. Sometimes we feed the babies in front of them.
When we think about Georgian Bluffs, it's really the Reiki forest bathing that comes to my mind. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we were looking to bring our people for a retreat, and this property just popped up, and we realized that behind it's a beautiful forest. Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water, if you're into water sports or sailing. And of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
The trails and so many great things to do, and lots of business opportunity here, and tourism as well to support our business.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Another thing too that I noticed from living through here is all the small communities throughout Georgian Bluffs. They're very unique, and they might be very small, but we're very big with heart. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
The Township of Georgian Bluffs as a municipality is proud to serve its residents, whether it be looking after infrastructure, looking after our roads, grading our gravel roads, looking after our parks, our trails, our community centres, our ice arena, or providing the services that residents rely on every single day when they come to our township offices. I'm proud to lead a team which is here serving the residents of Georgian Bluffs every single day.
What we'd like to see Georgian Bluffs going forward is really, more people come in to experience this beautiful energy, this relaxed energy, because over here in Georgian Bluffs, I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazing, really relaxing.
Welcoming more people, yet with the same foundation and principles of community, of respect, and of morals.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
I hope to see more local businesses, more sustainable living, and more families just moving up here and living and prospering off their land and their property.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street and say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
The Welcome Package is a tool that was developed by GB Lips subcommittee community. It was a tool that was supposed to be used for municipalities to share information with new residents, specifically immigrants coming to their communities, in a consistent way across Grey and Bruce counties. And what's great about it is the package was actually translated into multiple different languages.
As my own personal lived experience as an immigrant, not everything was accessible to me with the click of my hand. But the welcoming package, if you look up the municipality website, all the information that you need about the schools, about the local hospitals, about the local grocery stores, about the settlement service provider in your area. So I think it is a one-stop shop for all your settlement needs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly.
We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today.
Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing. I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazing, really relaxing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water. If you're into water sports or sailing, of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street and say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly. And a lot of the locals come here every single day and they think of it as their therapy.
We're the Farouk family. We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today. And now that we have this set up, this whole operation is well received by the community. People drive down from far, far away to do camping, glamping with us.
A lot of people come from far away to see the goats, and they're really amazed. Sometimes we feed the babies in front of them.
When we think about Georgian Bluffs, it's really the Reiki forest bathing that comes to my mind. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and we were looking to bring our people for a retreat, and this property just popped up, and we realized that behind it's a beautiful forest. Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water, if you're into water sports or sailing. And of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
The trails and so many great things to do, and lots of business opportunity here, and tourism as well to support our business.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Another thing too that I noticed from living through here is all the small communities throughout Georgian Bluffs. They're very unique, and they might be very small, but we're very big with heart. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
The Township of Georgian Bluffs as a municipality is proud to serve its residents, whether it be looking after infrastructure, looking after our roads, grading our gravel roads, looking after our parks, our trails, our community centres, our ice arena, or providing the services that residents rely on every single day when they come to our township offices. I'm proud to lead a team which is here serving the residents of Georgian Bluffs every single day.
What we'd like to see Georgian Bluffs going forward is really, more people come in to experience this beautiful energy, this relaxed energy, because over here in Georgian Bluffs, I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazing, really relaxing.
Welcoming more people, yet with the same foundation and principles of community, of respect, and of morals.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
I hope to see more local businesses, more sustainable living, and more families just moving up here and living and prospering off their land and their property.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street and say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
The Welcome Package is a tool that was developed by GB Lips subcommittee community. It was a tool that was supposed to be used for municipalities to share information with new residents, specifically immigrants coming to their communities, in a consistent way across Grey and Bruce counties. And what's great about it is the package was actually translated into multiple different languages.
As my own personal lived experience as an immigrant, not everything was accessible to me with the click of my hand. But the welcoming package, if you look up the municipality website, all the information that you need about the schools, about the local hospitals, about the local grocery stores, about the settlement service provider in your area. So I think it is a one-stop shop for all your settlement needs.
Georgian Bluff has a lot of activities to do. It's really nature driven, and it's like the community is very nice, very friendly.
We started Farm on the Lake, and the community, everybody around it, the support structure, the township has actually made us to who we are today.
Every time we are driving up, I feel so relaxed. The air is amazing. I can hear the wind, I can hear the trees talking. It's just amazing, really relaxing.
If you're an outdoor enthusiast, there's never-ending things to do. There's the hiking all over through the escarpment. There's the bay, the water. If you're into water sports or sailing, of course, pickleball is growing fast and it's all over the place right now. So there's lots to do.
What we enjoy the most about Georgian Bluff is having access to the beautiful nature around us, the cultural impact from the First Nations to the local artists.
First off, what I love about the area is the scenery. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it's right in the name of the municipality, the Bluffs. Everybody looks out for each other, takes care of each other, and just the way locals support locals. So the ability to have a local business and prosper is very apparent here in Georgian Bluffs.
People are more genuine here. People are more sincere. They're kind. They know the word please and thank you. It's the way life used to be. It's more simpler. You feel like you're part of something.
It would be great for Georgian Bluffs to continue to support, nature and the beauty that we have here, and to keep our area clean and beautiful.
For me and my family, Georgian Bluffs means being close to nature. Having the escarpment to hike and the water of Georgian Bay at our doorstep is something that draws us to being part of this community. The family-friendly neighbourhoods, the fact I can connect with my neighbours and see them on the street and say hello, and I know the people I'm seeing each day, is something which for me is something I treasure and my family treasures about being in Georgian Bluffs.
Okay, we are back in open session. I would just like to say council went into closed session under open meeting exemption F of section 239 subsection 2 of the Municipal Act 2001. In closed session, council received a verbal update by the CAO regarding legal advice obtained. No further items were discussed and no action was taken. And for information of the residents, I would like to read out the following item about waste services contract. Council has been in closed session to discuss legal advice and contract matters in respect to the collection of waste and recycling across Georgian Bluffs. Council and staff have heard your concerns loud and clear about significant and ongoing frustrations with the service delivery of garbage and recycling collection across the township. We have shared the significance of these concerns with our contractor and further highlighted the need for immediate service improvements. We would like to sincerely apologize for the repeated challenges faced with garbage and recycling collections and the inconvenience this has caused. We agree that the current frequency of incomplete, missed, and failed collections is not acceptable, and we are seeking to address this to the fullest extent possible under the terms of the contract we currently have. These discussions have started and will continue with our service provider. As we have heard over the past 2 years, recycling collections will be changing. In 2026, the township will no longer be responsible for collection of recycling, as this work will be undertaken by the province. We understand that the contract for this service has been awarded to Waste Management, who will be operating recycling collection across parts of Ontario, including Georgian Bluffs. The township's existing agreement with Waste Management will be ending in 2026. Securing a new contract for garbage collection is a priority for council, and through this process, we are determined to address issues that residents have experienced over recent years. We are also determined to secure services of value to residents that seek to further the important work of the township to address climate change and environmental issues, and that staff have the ability to effectively monitor and manage contractor performance. Township staff have issued a request for proposal last Friday to identify potential contractors to provide waste collection services to the township from 2026 to 2031. Upon completion of the request for proposal process, staff will provide council with a report outlining the results of the RFP process. This will include a recommendation in respect to a future contractor to complete waste collections across Georgian Bluffs. It is expected that council will then direct staff, to enter into a contract negotiation to take over service delivery starting in 2026. A new contract will be reviewed and signed by council. It is likely that a new contractor, even one that has provided or currently provides services to the township, will need to secure equipment and staff to perform services. And we know from experience that this process is not quick. In the meantime, staff and council will continue to work within the existing contract to address performance issues and concerns, and will continuously seek to provide an improved service to residents who have faced unacceptable issues with their garbage and recycling collection. Once again, we are so sorry for the inconvenience that this has caused. We thank you all for your patience, and we remain committed to addressing your concerns. Please continue to report missed collections to us at www.georgianbluffs.ca/contact-GB or by calling 519-376-2729. I think I would add to that, on behalf of all council, continue to reach out to those of us in council as well, and we will forward your concerns. So thank you for all of that. And we are now on to the confirming bylaw. The recommendation that bylaw number 2025-009, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council on January 15th, 2025, be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation, and engrossed in the bylaw book. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Deputy Mayor Pringle, Councillor Day. Is there any discussion? Call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. We will have committee of the whole will be our next regularly scheduled meeting on February 5th, 2025 at 5 p.m. The ending recommendation is that the meeting be adjourned at 7:15 p.m. Could I have a mover and a seconder? Councillor Coburn, Councillor Winters, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff, for everything you've done for us this evening.